Hello everyone and welcome to NETCRYPTO, where you get important information and news about all coins and tokens of interest. And today we are taking a look at Solaxy, right? So just as you saw on the thumbnail, right, claim day has come, and this video is important because I'm going to be sharing with you all the tricks that you need to avoid, and also, right, we are also going to be checking what possibly can happen after the launch is actually occurred, because we know this is a scam, a massive scam coming from the same scammers of Pepe Unchained, Wall Street Pepe, Dodgeverse, and plenty of other scams that I have actually covered on the channel, as you see right here, right? So let's jump straight into the content. So today is claim day, right? So what can we expect, right? So there are a few points. If you missed the last video that I did a couple of days ago, right, there are a few points that you need to be aware of as claim day has come, right? So point number one is you need to avoid at all cost the claim and stake button. This is only applicable if you haven't staked already, right? So some of you already, you have heard the call that we made long time ago when I said don't stake, right? If you have found yourself that you've already bought into the pre-sale, right, it was preferably not to buy into this pre-sale because the scam is in the pre-sale, right? Don't click the claim and stake button, right? Because once you click claim and stake, that would you automatically stake your tokens for the next 7 days from the time that you've clicked the button. This is a trick that they do across all their scams, right? And also, one that unfortunately is outside of your control is blocking, right? So what do we mean by blocking, right? So by blocking, I've explained this a couple of times, but some of you might actually be watching this for the first time. Blocking basically means that you bought in the pre-sale, right? You haven't staked. So today is claim day. You should be able to claim, hold your tokens or sell them if you want. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to even be able to actually claim. Why? Because they are blocked, right? It's a front-end UI scam. What do we mean by that? Right, so the scammers use the 80-20 rule, right? So it's a front-end UI block right here on the website. The moment you connect your wallet, the claim button doesn't work, right? It's not on the blockchain. It's right here. It's a simple hack done right there on the website, right? So that's the front-end UI scam. So how do they do this? So to create confusion, they will allow 80%, right, to be able to claim of those who invest. Because remember, when money goes into this pre-sale, right, we have already established that the majority of the money that entered into the pre-sale, like if you see here, they're talking about 57 million raised. Huge amount of the 57 million only comes from about 20% of investors who invested in the pre-sale. Majority of people have invested maybe $200, $300, but there are a lot of people, like for example, I think we did a video a couple of days ago where I did an update on the blockchain, and we saw that the investors with the largest amount, I think, was around for almost 400,000 US dollars right into this one, followed by 200,000 US dollars. So we have a lot of big investors who actually put in big money. So those investors, only 20% of them will be able to actually claim. 80% of them will be blocked, right? And the majority of those who invested the lower amounts, right, the $200, the $300, the $1,000, 80% of those will be able to claim and 20% blocked. The scammers do this to create confusion, right? Such that you're going to hear a lot of people say, I made a gain. That is if we actually do come to the stage where we have an artificial price pump. Because now today we are entering stage 5, right? We are entering stage 5, and stage 6 is the artificial price pump, right? So if the artificial price pump happens, right, those who are able to claim will say, I have made gains, right? And then you get confused because you are not able to claim and you wonder what is going on, right? So the scammers, they do this to try and actually masquerade the scam that they are doing, right? So some are not able to claim, some are able to claim. 80% of those of the biggest investors into the pre-sale, right, are not able to claim. 20% can claim. Likewise, of the smaller investors, 80% are able to claim, 20% can't, right? Because those, they make the largest noise. Everybody's happy. I've made 2x, 3x, but in the last pre-sales, this has not even happened, right? So now let's take a look at some of the tricks here. So also forced staking. I don't believe we're going to see forced staking to this one. Forced staking basically means they stake you by force. Even though you haven't staked, they just put you in staking anyway. I've seen that on some of the scams here that they have done, but I don't have any reason to think Solaxy, with the way that they set it up, it will most probably, Solaxy will be one of these three, right? It will be either a Pepe Unchained, a Wall Street Pepe, or a Dogeverse, right? So we're going to be talking about these three projects, right? And what happened in each, and what can we possibly try to predict or speculate what is going to be happen with Solaxy, right? So now let's check here. So there is also the 7-day lock. So unfortunately, if you staked your tokens, your tokens will be locked up for 7 days, right? This is deliberate because during these 7 days, in some of the projects, that's where you see the artificial price pump, right? So they start, the token can go to 3x, 4x, right? Because they know majority of investors are what? They're actually stuck in the 7-day lock, right? That's where forced staking also come into play. They can actually try to, if they really want to push the agenda of the artificial price pump, they can even trigger forced staking to ensure that a lot of investors are not able to actually benefit from that price pump, right? And as the 7 days are coming to a close, then the price starts going down, right? And of course, be careful of scam vouchers, right? So these are the scammers that are surrounding the project. You see them on X, you see them on Telegram, right? They are around there. They are trying to, I can help you to get your tokens, right? I can help you to claim, right? If you are having any technical issues, I can help you. I'm an admin and all that, right? Those are vouchers. Those are voucher scammers, right? You need to completely stay away from them, right? So before you also conclude that you have been blocked, always try to resolve your issue technically. There are tons of videos on YouTube, right? Try to use the browser wallet. By the way, if you are using Best Wallet, you have claimed your tokens, you are having issues with selling and all that, try to actually move over your wallet to something like Trust Wallet or MetaMask, because Best Wallet is also a scam, right? It's coming from these same scammers as well, right? So before we jump over to look at these other three projects, right, a lot of you do ask me, NETCRYPTO, so you talk about this is a scam, so how can we actually get involved in crypto in a much safer way, right? So what I encourage you to do is to join the NETCRYPTO membership, right? You join the NETCRYPTO membership. If you just check on the channel, you can click the join button, right? Or the subscribe plus button. Either you have one of the two, or there are links here on the channel, right? Where you will be able to click the join the membership. And then once you join the membership, you're going to be able to get access to members only content, right? You get access to all these videos. Currently, the market is not doing well, right? As you saw, right, Bitcoin even went below 100K. But guess what? One of the tokens on our list, this one right here, right, I think it was episode 11 as well, I mentioned this token. So I did this video 9 days ago, right? And in episode 11, that's when I actually talked about this token, which is almost, I think, 2 months ago or something like that. This token went up 3x. Right, it went up 3x from the moment that we talk about. So there are ways to make money in crypto, right? It's not a get rich quick scheme. So by joining the NETCRYPTO membership, you have access to all the members only content. You also get access to my email, so you can email me as well directly, right? And you also get access to other challenges like the 2x challenge, the rolling 2x challenge that we have, where we have about 15 tokens, right, that we are actively ranking, and then we use the best token to trade to try to get to a 2x, right? And also we have long-term investment, multiple strategies. This is all just educational content to help you get ahead of the game in your crypto journey, right? And you can fast track your learning as well by joining the NETCRYPTO membership, right? So now let's jump into these tokens to try and actually ascertain what can happen with this specific scam. So with Pepe Unchained had an aggressive artificial price pump, right? So this means it is an aggressive stage 6. So what this means is they actually effectively executed the 80-20 rule, right? A lot of the huge amount of investors, right, the investors who actually put a huge amount into the pre-sale were not able to claim. Only 20% were. But those who put the biggest amounts were not able to claim their tokens in here. But there were also an 80% of those who invested lower amounts who were able to claim, and everyone was celebrating. But actually, those who contributed 80% of the money that went into the pre-sale, 80% of those, they were not able to claim. Only 20% were, right? So that's what happened with Pepe Unchained, but it also went a 5x because a lot of people were also stuck in staking, plus those who are also blocked, right? So with Pepe Unchained, take a look at the price pump. So you can see here, right, if you just take a look at the chart, let's just allow it to load, right? So if you take a look at the chart, it started off here, went down, and then there was artificial price pump coming in, but now it went down. All the scams always go down eventually, right? And then we also had Wall Street Pepe, more recent scam, right? Into this one, there was someone who actually invested 1.5 million US dollars, and his money was reduced to less than 200K by the scammers, right? They just did a rug pull onto this one, right? So with this one, there was no artificial price pump. They even launched at a lower price than the pre-sale, right? They even launched at a lower. You do see here some movement coming here, right? But it's negligible. Like take a look here at the volume, only 87,000. This is a project where people invested hundreds of thousands, right? Like I said, the top investor invested 1.5 million US dollars. There are some who invested 400K, 300K, 200K, 100K. Lots of people invested 100K, 50K into this project. But take a look at that, right? Yeah, so be extremely careful. That's one scenario actually that can actually play out. And we also have Dogeverse, right? For those of you who've been with the channel or who've been members of the channel for a while, you would remember Dogeverse, right? Dogeverse was also just a straight up rug pull as well, right? It was just a straight up rug pull, right? Just like the other recent scams. But I chose these three because they also collected a huge amount of money during the pre-sale. So we can expect that Solaxy is going to be one of these three, right? I think aggressively, the scammers right now, they're trying to actually push the agenda of Best Wallet. So they would want to sort of like maintain the last price of the pre-sale. So we know that the last price of the pre-sale is 2017, as you see right here. So they would want to maintain this price point, even go to a 2x, right? So we can actually speculate like right now, because you never actually know what the scammers are going to do. Are they just going to launch below the pre-sale price and then just dump the token and then move on, right? Are they going to try to do a 2x, right, to artificially prime the price? But one thing that we do know is the price always drops, right? And there are some who actually say, you know what, the best thing for this token is to, when launch happens, the price drop, you buy, right? And then after you buy, then you make an appreciation. Well, that's a strategy, right? But I actually did videos for those who are in the member section, right, that you can actually check out to do it in a much safer way. There are multiple metrics that you need to check if that's something that you're actually considering to do, right? So this is the video. You need to watch this video if you're a channel member, or if you haven't, if you want to get involved into this thing of buying low, right? So there is this one, the 6 golden rules of buying pre-sale, and also this one, the 2x PBO pre-sale buy strategy, right? These two videos, you need to watch these two videos if that's something that you're actually interested in. So we can actually speculate that with Solaxy, we know it's a scam. We know they are going to dump the price. We just don't know how aggressively that they are going to do it until the launch actually happens and we start to see. But it's going to be one of the three. There's going to be an artificial price pump. A lot of people blocked from being able to claim their tokens, right? And like I said, don't conclude that you've been blocked. Try to resolve your issue technically, right? But if the button is just not working the moment you connect, right, you cleared your cookies, you did all, the button is not working, chances are you're actually blocked, right? Once the token is dumped 80-90%, that's when you might actually be able to claim, but you've already lost like almost, the token is near zero, right? Or they might pull a Wall Street Pepe, right? They launch even below the pre-sale price, right? And it never comes back to the last price of the pre-sale, right? That's something that can actually happen. Or it can just be a simple straight up rug pull, as they've been doing with multiple other smaller pre-sales that they've done recently. Straight up rug pull, it just goes down, right? So let me know how it goes for you. Were you able to claim your tokens, right? Were you able to actually get a little bit of an appreciation if there was to take advantage of the artificial price, fake price pump, if there was one, right? Let me know, right? So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one or in the membership section.